Y'all might want to sit down, clutch your edges, and hold your iced coffee tight because what just leaked behind the scenes of Love and Hip Hop, Atlanta Season 13 is so messy, so savage, and so nuclear it might just make reality TV history. I'm talking betrayals hotter than a flat iron at full blast. Screenshots that should have come with a trigger warning. And one cast member storming off like she was auditioning for Scandal instead of VH1. And yes, the cast member who said, "I'm done. Not today, not ever" was none other than Yandy Smith-Harris, the same woman who once held it down as the classy queen with a cause. But what if I told you that all of that composure, gone, snatched like a cheap wig in a hurricane? Why? Because Mena, reality TV's certified chaos agent, just blew up the whole season over some alleged DMS, a shady dinner, and a betrayal. So raw it had production diving under tables like it was a code red at the reunion. What did Erica show? Why did Yandy quit? And how did a private group dinner turn into a war zone that VH1 refuses to air? Baby, this ain't just a catfight. This is a full-blown, televised betrayal. Let's get into it. Let's not play games. What's going down? Behind the scenes of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta Season 13 is the kind of scandal that makes producers sweat, cast members lawyer up, and fans rewind the footage frame by frame like they're analyzing evidence from a crime scene. The cameras may have been rolling, but baby, the real drama was happening when the red lights were off. At the center of it all, Yandy Smith-Harris, the composed queen, who usually floats above the chaos in designer heels and flawless edges. But even queens have limits, and when Mena pulled her latest stunt, Yandy didn't just clap back, she vanished from the set faster than an NDA after a bottle-throwing brawl. You see, this wasn't just reality TV mess. This was betrayal of the highest order. Allegedly, Mena showed up to a private cast dinner, no producers, no cameras, just wine, fake laughs, and tension thick enough to slice with a butter knife. And in the middle of that dinner, she pulled out her phone like she was about to show off her kids. But nah, sis wasn't scrolling through baby photos. She allegedly dropped a bombshell DM screenshots. And not just any DMEs. Messages allegedly between Yandy's husband, Mendices, and some mystery woman, who, according to Erica, had been in contact with her personally. That's right. Erica claimed this woman slid into her own messages just to say, "Hey girl, I think your co-star's man been creeping." Now pause. Let that marinate. Not only is Erica accusing Mendices of sliding into someone's DMs, but she also decided to share the so-called receipts in the middle of dinner like it was story time at a betrayal brunch. Yandy wasn't even there, but by sunrise, the whispers had made it back to her faster than Mona Scott can book a confessional. Sources say when Yandy showed up to set the next morning, she didn't say much. She didn't need to. The look in her eyes said it all. Sis was storm cloud chic in head-to-toe designer, walking with that slow, calm energy that means someone's about to lose their job, or their man. According to people who were there, she didn't scream. She didn't throw hands. She pulled Mendices aside for what witnesses called a quiet but deadly conversation. The kind where nobody yells, but you know lives are about to be ruined. And let's just say, Mendices had his hands up in full damage control mode, giving classic, "it's not what it looks like" energy. But Yandy wasn't hearing it. She made it clear. She was done filming, done pretending, and most importantly, done breathing the same air as Mena, and baby, when Yandy says she's done, she means it. Production thought she was bluffing. They've seen tantrums before, they've dealt with walkouts. But Yandy wasn't playing reality games. She looked straight into the producer's eyes and said, "I will not film with that woman. Period. No ultimatums. No room for negotiations." She grabbed her stuff, didn't wait for a car, and dipped. Left the whole storyline in shambles. The crew was standing there like someone just pulled the power plug on the entire season, and that's when things spiraled. Allegedly, producers scrambled behind the scenes, hoping to salvage what they could. Rumors say they tried everything: extra money, reduced shooting days, even promising her she could have control over editing. But Yandy wasn't budging. Meanwhile, Erica showed up to set like nothing happened, full glam, coffee in hand, asking, "Who's filming with me today?" As if she hadn't just lit a match and walked away from a gas leak. Sources say production actually managed to film a confrontation scene between the two, and when I tell you it was explosive, I mean reality TV, gold levels of chaos. Think, security on standby, producers yelling cut, while cameras kept rolling, and Yandy allegedly asking Erica one simple question: "Why would you do this?" And Erica, with her trademark smirk, reportedly said, "I thought you'd want to know." Boom. That was the moment. That room went from hot to ice cold. Witnesses say Yandy stood up, and for a second looked like she might lunge across the table, but security stepped in just in time. The footage, crystal clear. The mics, all hot. The drama. Cinematic. But guess what? VH1 never aired the scene. That's right. They snatched it right out the episode like it never happened. And why? Because according to insiders, this wasn't the kind of scripted beef they could play around with. This was real marriage-destroying, brand-damaging, lawsuit-level heat. VH1 knew if they aired that scene, it wouldn't just be trending, it'd be subpoenaed. So instead, they edited around it. Added voiceovers. Cut to commercial. Anything to distract from the missing footage. But the fans noticed. Social media went wild. People were asking why Yandy and Erica hadn't been in a single scene together all season. Why the group dinners looked awkwardly chopped. Why it felt like someone was being edited out with surgical precision. And the blogs didn't help. Within 48 hours of the drama, screenshots started leaking. Threads were popping off on Twitter. TikToks were analyzing the shadows and background shots. One fan even said, "You can see Yandy's reflection in the glass, but she's not in the scene. VH1 thinks we dumb." And just when the speculation hit a boiling point, a so-called insider dropped a bombshell article that blew the lid off the whole scandal. The article laid it all out. The dinner, the screenshots, the confrontation, and even the fact that production held private meetings with both women trying to mediate the situation. Yandy allegedly told them flat out, "I don't film with people who come for my marriage." And Erica, she shrugged and said she had no regrets. Cold. And that was just the beginning. Because the moment that article dropped, VH1 went into full panic mode. The internet was dragging them, accusing the network of protecting Erica while pushing Yandy out. Fans were outraged, demanding to see the footage, questioning the integrity of the show, and begging for answers. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, producers were holding what one source called a code red emergency meeting to figure out how to keep the season from crumbling. And what was Mendices doing during all of this? He was missing in action. No green screen interviews, no scenes. Just Instagram lives about fitness and growth, like he wasn't smack in the middle of a digital scandal bomb. But allegedly, he wasn't just hiding, he was planning. Word is he was already in quiet talks with another network about a spin-off series centered around fatherhood, healing, and his life after love and hip-hop. Translation: while Yandy was out here defending her marriage and reputation, Mendices was allegedly trying to flip the scandal into a solo redemption arc. The audacity, baby, was industrial grade. Fans started to turn on him too. The whispers turned to roars. Was the DM story real? Were the screenshots edited? Had Erica just made it all up to get back in the spotlight? Or worse, was there more truth to it than anyone wanted to admit? And that's when the smoke really started to rise, not just on set but all over social media. People were zooming in on the supposed leaked screenshots like they were breaking down evidence from a federal case, comparing font sizes, times, glitches, and even claiming the bubble colors didn't match Mendices' known phone settings. One TikToker even made a side-by-side analysis saying, "This bubble right here is from iOS 14, but Mendices had an Android in 2020. Explain that." It became a full-blown fan-led investigation, with Reddit threads turning into full case files. But while the internet was playing detective, VH1 was playing damage control. Sources claim that after the chaos erupted, several episodes had to be completely re-edited or scrapped altogether. Entire scenes were allegedly reshot, camera angles cropped, and storylines rewritten mid-season just to keep Erica and Yandy as far away from each other as possible. One crew member even spilled that the hair and makeup trailers had to be separated, Erica on one end, Yandy on the other, because the tension was so toxic it was messing with the glam team's schedule. It got to the point where crew members were allegedly forbidden from even mentioning one woman in front of the other. It was giving reality TV Cold War. And then came the NDAs. Yes, fresh non-disclosure agreements were reportedly handed out to cast and crew, like Halloween candy. Word was that anyone who even whispered about what went down risked losing their check, their screen time, and probably their Uber voucher home. The network wasn't playing. But even NDAs can't stop a stylist from talking. An anonymous member of the glam squad came forward and said the mood on set was unbearable. People were walking on eggshells. Producers were in constant panic. Some scenes were reshot 4 or 5 times because one of the women had to be edited out entirely. It got so bad that one episode, originally planned as a big group confrontation, was cut down to 2 people talking in a hallway while everyone else was added with b-roll and voice. The edits were giving fever dream. And still, Erica was showing up like nothing happened, laughing with crew, throwing side eyes in confessionals, and posting behind-the-scenes pics like she wasn't the human grenade that just exploded the cast. Yandy, on the other hand, went silent. She stopped promoting the show on her socials. No teasers, no story reposts, nothing. Just generic inspirational quotes and family photos with zero mention of season 13. Fans noticed. They always notice, and then came the leak that made everyone's jaw drop: a redacted legal letter from Yandy's team to VH1's legal department, threatening action if certain footage aired. The letter reportedly accused the network of emotional distress, defamation by implication, and intentional infliction of emotional harm by allowing third-party cast members to drag her marriage into a public circus. Translation: Yandy was ready to sue if they even tried to slip that confrontation scene into a previously on flashback. This wasn't drama anymore. This was war. VH1 blinked. That's why the confrontation was deleted. That's why the dinner was never shown. That's why the season started to feel disjointed, awkward, and low-key edited with a butter knife. You could feel the missing energy in every scene. No group synergy, no cross-conflict buildup, just fragmented drama that felt like someone had taken a red pen and crossed out every real moment. Viewers started dragging the show online. Comments flooded in saying it felt like a highlight reel with all the good parts missing. "Where's the heat?" one fan asked. "Why does this feel like a YouTube recap and not a full episode?" Another said, "We waited all season and they gave us softcore shade. This ain't love and hip-hop, this is love and half the story." And they weren't wrong. As the season went on, it became painfully obvious something had gone terribly wrong. Behind the scenes, production tried to pivot hard, introducing side plots, random new cast members, and extended cutaway scenes about skincare, clothing lines, and fake brunches that went nowhere. It was desperate, it was transparent, and it wasn't working. The ratings took a hit mid-season. Viewer engagement dropped. And then came the mess with the reunion. Baby, the reunion was supposed to be the explosion. The moment everything came out on stage in front of the lights, the audience, and the cameras. Instead, it turned into the biggest disaster of the season. First, they postponed it due to some scheduling conflicts, but insiders said the truth was uglier. Yandy reportedly refused to attend if Erica was in the building. Erica, in turn, demanded first chair, a private dressing room, and editorial protection. Spice claimed she had a tour emergency. Scrappy ghosted last minute. Producers were left with 4 side cast members and 1 frazzled PA holding cue cards in an empty soundstage. They tried to reschedule again 2 weeks later, but it was Dossie. Vu Carly Red got into a screaming match with her glam squad and stormed off. Sierra refused to come after learning she'd be asked to mediate a fight she wanted no part of. Erica showed up in full glam again, allegedly furious when she was told no one else was coming. She reportedly screamed at a producer, "How am I supposed to redeem myself if there's no one to fight with?" And then, because this saga can't help itself, the final nail came in the form of another leak. This time, a full copy of the original reunion rundown made its way onto a gossip blog. It detailed everything they planned: Erica confronting Yandy with fresh receipts, a surprise Zoom appearance by Mendices, a never-before-seen DM thread revealed live on screen, and a dramatic walk-off finale that was supposed to leave jaws on the floor. But none of it happened. None. VH1 allegedly shelved the entire reunion, buried the footage, and replaced it with a last-minute clip show narrated by a low-energy voice actor who sounded like he was reading from a teleprompter while eating toast. Fans were livid. One tweeted, "I stayed up for a slideshow and an inspirational quote. Where's the drama? Where's the fire? Where is Yandy?" The backlash was so loud that even Love and Hip Hop's official account went into hiding, disabling comments and posting vague, recycled promos that said things like "tune in for the season finale." But even in that finale, the vibe was off. Something was missing, you could tell. The cast looked divided, the pacing was rushed, and the final scenes had all the emotional depth of a furniture commercial. Even the soundtrack sounded like royalty-free elevator music. Viewers were confused, disappointed, betrayed, not just by the cast, but by the network. People felt like they had been strung along all season only to be handed a throwdown. version of what could have been the most iconic love and hip-hop season in years. But then came the whispers about season 14. And that's when things got real. Multiple sources claimed that several major cast members refused to sign contracts for the new season until they had clarity on the Erica and Yandy situation. The trust was broken, the damage was deep, and no amount of production spin was going to patch it up overnight. Word on the street was that the network was considering a complete overhaul, new cast, new city, maybe even a rebrand, because the core of the show, the drama, the energy, the unfiltered mess that made love and hip-hop legendary, had been swallowed up by legal threats, missing footage, and one betrayal too far. And as the whispers about season 14 turned into full-blown production rumors, the real question became, was there even a show left to salvage? Insiders close to the network admitted anonymously that the team behind the scenes was in shambles. Writers were being pulled in every direction trying to write around missing scenes. Edit teams were working overtime to blend in B-roll footage from older seasons, and producers were quietly calling up former cast members to gauge interest in possible comebacks. But here's the thing, no one wanted to walk into a battlefield. Nobody wanted to join a show where legal threats could drop like confetti and where castmates refused to breathe the same air, let alone share the same screen. It wasn't just about drama anymore. It was about brand reputation, contracts, and damage control. The fallout from the Erica and Yandy feud had created a domino effect that not even Mona Scott herself could script her way out of. It reached the point where even sponsors reportedly started to raise eyebrows. One brand pulled their integration from 2 episodes after learning that a major scene they paid for never aired due to the editing crisis. Advertisers didn't want to be associated with chaos that wasn't fun and messy but legally risky. This wasn't love and hip-hop anymore. It was love and liability. And behind the curtain, VH1 was scrambling. Rumors started flying that Erica was being quietly encouraged to take a break from filming moving forward. The phrase used by one executive, according to a leaked internal memo, was narrative realignment. But Erica wasn't going down quietly. In fact, reports claimed she was actively pitching her own redemption arc for the next season. A spin-off concept supposedly centered around her personal growth, motherhood, and navigating fame, basically an image rehab series, designed to distract from the chaos she'd detonated. And then came the most unexpected twist of all. Word broke that Yandy had been in private talks with Bet Plus. According to someone close to those discussions, BET Plus was developing a new series centered on Black excellence, motherhood, legacy, and life after reality TV. And guess who they allegedly wanted as the face of the whole project? None other than Yandy Smith-Harris. It was poetic, really. While VH1 tried to hold its crumbling franchise together with duct tape and NDAs, Yandy was moving in silence, planning her next move like a chess master. One Bet producer reportedly described the vibe of the show as unfiltered, grown, and unapologetic. And the cherry on top, Erica wasn't even on the radar for casting. That's when fans really started connecting the dots. Yandy had already been phasing herself out, using season 13 as a soft exit strategy. And once the Erica betrayal hit, she wasn't about to let her brand, her marriage, or her legacy get dragged in the mud just for ratings. So when the legal letters dropped, when the edits got butchered, and when the reunion imploded, Yandy was already 10 steps ahead. She wasn't running from the drama. She was walking straight into a bigger bag. Meanwhile, the Love and Hip Hop Atlanta house was still burning. Cast members like Sierra reportedly began exploring contracts with other networks, hesitant to return to a show that felt more like a legal risk than a career opportunity. Even Carly Red, the unofficial queen of messy TV, started floating ideas for her own spin-off called Red Flags, a show centered around her love life, beauty business, and drama that didn't include lawsuits. And let's not forget the fans. The backlash from the reunion mess, or lack thereof, was so intense that the Love and Hip Hop social media pages had to turn off comment sections temporarily. Viewers were demanding answers. POSTING, side-by-side freeze frames from past episodes trying to prove that certain cast members were digitally removed or that audio had been dubbed over. Some even claimed to recognize stock crowd audio being used to fake reactions during supposedly live moments. That's how deep the manipulation ran. It was like reality TV had finally collapsed under the weight of its own edits. And through it all, Mendices remained largely silent. No statements, no clarifications, just sporadic posts about fitness, family, and motivational mantras that felt eerily disconnected from the hurricane that had exploded around him. But even that silence didn't go unnoticed. One blog claimed he'd been in talks with YouTube producers to launch a docuseries titled Fatherhood Unfiltered. A soft-focused look at life after fame and his journey as a husband, father, and public figure. Sound familiar? That's because it looked suspiciously like a spin-off pitch to counterbalance all the negative press damage control disguised as empowerment. And that's what made this whole situation so surreal. On the surface, it was just another love and hip-hop beef. But underneath, it was a complete implosion of the reality TV machine. A caste divide so deep it fractured production. A betrayal so public it triggered legal action. A network so spooked they cut entire episodes and left viewers with a slideshow. And a fandom so invested they started doing forensic analysis of iMessage styles. But the biggest question still hung in the air: where does the franchise go from here? VH1 is reportedly in emergency talks with showrunners to either overhaul the cast entirely or reboot the brand in a different city. One insider claimed that producers are toying with the idea of launching a new Love and Hip Hop installment in Chicago or Houston with a completely new cast and a clean slate, but even that comes with risk. Because after everything that's gone down, the public trust has been cracked. Fans aren't sure if they're watching drama or dodging legal edits. And for a show built on raw emotion and unfiltered chaos, that confusion could be the final nail. One entertainment reporter put it best: Love and Hip Hop didn't just lose a storyline this season, they lost control of the narrative. And in the age of social media, that's lethal. Once the fans feel lied to, they don't just turn the channel, they burn it down. So now, as the dust settles and the cast either walks away or shops new deals, the legacy of Season 13 will be remembered not for its ratings, not for its fights, and not even for its fake brunches, but for the moment it all unraveled. A single betrayal, a cast walkout, and a network caught between the mess it helped create and the silence it had to buy. This wasn't just a scandal, it was a wake-up call. And no matter how they try to repackage it next season, one thing is clear: Love and Hip Hop will never be the same again. So now that the tea has been spilled, boiled, and practically evaporated into thin air, what do you think really went down behind the scenes? Was Yandy right to walk away from the show in the name of protecting her peace and marriage? Or was Erica just doing what reality stars do best, stirring the pot and letting the chaos rise? And let's not ignore Mendices, who somehow vanished into motivational posts while the whole franchise caught fire. Is he dodging accountability, or just playing it smart while everyone else self-destructs? The questions are endless, and the drama is far from over. But one thing's for sure: this was not your average reality TV mess. This was reputation warfare dressed up in contour and confessionals. So drop your wildest theories in the comments. Who's the real villain? Who's telling the truth? And should VH1 just scrap it all and start over? Hit that like button if you think this season was the messiest yet, and don't forget to subscribe, because the next scandal is always one leak away. And trust, when the next bombshell hits, you'll want to be the first to hear about it. We don't just watch drama, we investigate it. Stay tuned, stay nosy, and stay ready.